You may believe Robin was being selfless in what she did, but what you don't know is that they were really a manipulation lesson. What she actually said will make you speechless. Don't worry, you'll want to hear the whole thing. Let's get into it. No filler, just facts. Hey everyone, Monica here, and welcome back to Sister Wives Underground, your go-to for the raw truth behind the drama. Today's episode is a wild ride. We're peeling back the curtain on Robin's crocodile tears, Cody's selective grief, and the daughters who are ready to spill the tea. Let's begin with the one question on everyone's mind. Why do so many people believe Robin to be selfish? It absolutely can't possibly have something to do with the way she inserts herself into every emotional moment, as if she's the lead character in a tragedy no one invited her to. But here's the thing, she doesn't just show up, she centers herself, and people are finally holding her accountable for it. Now tell me this, when is Christine going to release that tell-all? Better still, let's get Gwen and Isabel in on it. Isabel's sweet heart combined with Gwen's harsh honesty could shatter the internet and likely sell a book deal that opens at #1 overnight. And let's be honest, if Truly gets in on the action when she's 18, just take all our money right now. Even today, Isabel is publicly nice to Robin because that's what she's like, a deeply compassionate person. Gwen, however, Gwen will have her say, and we adore her for it. The older kids were close, particularly when they were coming up together. There was genuine bonding there. But let's not pretend like Isabel's going to drag people along. She's too elegant. In the meantime, Peyton is giving us serious Cody light vibes, not exactly what we need in a revolution. But Garrison and Gabriel, those two can actually bring the heat. Gabe in particular, he's got the closeness in age and the distance from the crap to actually say something real. Imagine a memoir from Gwen, Gabe and Truly. That's material we need. And as for Robin's perpetual "why doesn't anyone like me" story, honey, it may be time to look in the mirror. And no, not only for the over-tweezed 2003 eyebrow flash from the past, her glam squad either ghosted her or outright sabotaged her. But looks aside, let's discuss what's really amiss. Remember that agonizing, uncomfortable experience with Mary? Robin essentially said to her, "Of course your life sucks, but could you continue being miserable for a little while longer so I can keep acting like this family's still intact?" That wasn't empathy. That was emotional blackmail disguising itself as a pretend hug. And while Cody bawled over Christine's departure like she had died, he didn't even blink at Mary's devastation. Public humiliation? Absolutely. And yet, no responsibility. Neither Robin nor Mary ever took responsibility for how their silence contributed to Christine walking out. They sat there like bystanders, no active players in Christine's pain. Let's be real, Christine gave everything. She was the glue, and when she finally knew she was worth more, she chose herself. That's not betrayal, that's survival. But Cody, he labelled it manipulation, because in his world, requesting emotional support is somehow playing games. What's crazy is the way Robin uses her victimhood. She speaks of peace, oneness, and sisterhood. But each sentence overflows with passive aggression. Her tears are not for others, they're for the attention she feels she's losing. She doesn't weep when people are suffering. She weeps when she's no longer the centre of attention. Typical Robin, all theatrics and no substance. She even instructed Mary to hold on to her miserable affair so Robin could enjoy her perfect little fantasy. That's not love, that's control. And don't even get me started on the "no one wanted me" sob story. Let's analyse it. Single mom, no job, buried in debt, with a nanny raising her children. She arrived at this marriage with more baggage than an airport carousel, but somehow turns it around as if polygamy occurred to her. Please. At the end of it all, Christine emerged with her head held high, taking back her peace. Robin remained behind with a fantasy in her hand, oblivious to the destruction at her back. And if you're still out here giving Cody and her the benefit of doubt, we need to speak. Oh, and don't forget the wedding pictures. Robin never had her solo photos with Cody. Tragic, huh? Let's all have a moment of silence. Not for the lost love, but for the lighting she whined about. And meanwhile, Christine is over here raising children, forming relationships, and keeping the family intact. And Robin is bawling because her filter didn't register right. And that, my friends, is the real story. Wedding day, the nerve, the egotism, the eyebrows. Ever find yourself wondering how some individuals manage to escape abusive families and live while others are supposed to remain in silence and endure? This is what we should be asking. Robin, why didn't you stay? You had 3 children, a husband, a house. You sacrificed and worked, so why didn't you just stay and fight for the family? Why didn't you have those uncomfortable conversations, struggle through, do what you now expect others to do? Consider that for a moment. You were miserable, so you walked away to be happy. So why is it somehow wrong when Christine does the very same thing? Robin's answer, always, comes down to one theme. Christine leaving is all about her, how it hurt her, how it destroyed her dream, how it affected her children. Me, me, me. That's all we hear. The sound of self-pity never seems to cease. Then there are the 2 who never once contacted Christine, never sent questions, never expressed genuine concern, but now feel they are entitled to sit in front of cameras and present themselves as though Christine destroyed their lives. They never had a real relationship with her, yet they have a lot to say now. Meanwhile, Janelle stayed with Christine. Why? Because she observed the truth and didn't attempt to turn it into something about herself. And for real, if I were to endure what Christine did year after year, I'd leave too. Mary behaves as though Christine was supposed to call her up and share everything. But remember when Christine believed that Cody would have her back regarding moving back to Utah, only for him to throw her under the bus in front of the other wives? Everyone saw her hurt. They all had an opportunity to call out, to stand with her. Instead, they've gossiped. And Robin had the audacity to complain about her family photo being destroyed. But let's be real, she didn't lose a family picture. She redrew it. She erased Christine and her children from that photograph and substituted herself and her kids. That wasn't a loss, it was a takeover. Robin even went so far as to say that Christine's children can't possibly know the entire story if they still stand by their mother. As if they're being brainwashed, as if they didn't experience it all firsthand. That's what's different. Christine's children did live it. They lived it on television. They lived it in their own home. And Christine, she's been much more considerate to Cody in front of the children than most would be on her behalf. Isabel demonstrated that with her poise time and again. And let's be real, nowadays, whenever Robin and Cody are speaking, it's mute or fast forward. If you really want to laugh, watch their facial expressions and hand movements on mute. It's unintentional humour at its best. But some of it isn't funny, such as when Robin explains to her children that a person did not come to Thanksgiving because they care about someone else more. That is manipulation. That is gaslighting. That is fabricating history with your children standing there, knowing full well what really happened. And then there's the nanny. Robin's home every day. The kids are too old to be toddlers anymore. Most families would rely on older children or extended family. But Robin, she's got a nanny. For what? What is this nanny doing when there's a house full and Robin's not working? She understands why Mary would leave, but she can't figure out why Christine had to. As if only Mary deserves to want happiness and freedom. As if Robin herself hadn't left her first marriage for a better life. Everyone should have that option. Except Christine, it seems. The reality? Robin appears to prosper when others suffer. Perhaps Christine didn't leave at all. Perhaps Cody psychologically abandoned her years ago. And Christine simply caught up. Because her departure, it disrupts Robin's way of life, the mansion, the luxury, the spending, the notion that perhaps she has to cook, clean, or even raise her children herself. Christine is worth more than that. She's worth happiness. Perhaps she'll find her next story after Sister Wives. Folks say she can't do a show by herself, but with Janelle and the children in tow, that might be worth watching. Surely this is only one part of the equation, but let's get real. Who's asking Cody anything anymore? Cody hardly calls. He never comes by. He resides full-time with Robin. And yet, everyone else is still supposed to accommodate Robin's every desire. She wanted out of her first marriage, and that was okay. But now anyone else who wants out is selfish. The only thing Robin actually appears to care about is keeping the show going and keeping herself in the limelight. Her repeated assertion that she had no other choices is quite frankly ridiculous. That's easy to tell a person when you're not the one who's being ignored, dismissed, and emotionally drained. Robin insisted that she wanted to live the plural marriage lifestyle and expose her children to the experience of a big, loving family. But spoiler alert, her kids are never going to experience that vision of the family. She made sure of it. If Robin really wanted the entire family situation, she wouldn't have employed Mindy Jessup and brought over her ex-husband, another Jessup, into the house in Vegas as a nanny. That wasn't family building, that was control. Reality. Robin just doesn't like one of her emotional escape valves, Christine getting away. Now Robin has to deal with what she's been avoiding all along, Cody's tantrums and outbursts now focused on her. This is the life she battled for, Cody all to herself. Hope she appreciates the reality she constructed because the repercussions are here. There have even been rumours of more profound problems, money issues, drinking speculation, but without firm facts, that's merely that, speculation. Nevertheless, what isn't speculative is this. Asking someone to remain in an unhappy, unbalanced relationship is cruel. Robin is so fond of comparing the Jessups to the Browns, as if they are the only two life choices for her. But let's be real, she didn't leave plural marriage at all. She simply changed men within the same group. Perhaps that's why she holds on to the Browns so hard. It's not love, it's control, image, and narrative. Robin presents herself as the ultimate victim, always focused on what she and her kids need while claiming to be the selfless sister wife. But she helped light the match that burned this family down. She and Cody, mirror images in ego and emotional manipulation, are a perfect pair. That's the whole story, really. Now let's talk about the camper. People say Janelle moved into that fifth wheel to save money. But guess what? That move ended up costing her more than $150,000. Dollars which could have been utilized differently. On paper, the less complicated and more sensible thing would have been to purchase Christine's home. It was already within the family's inventory and would have given her a comfortable, permanent place to stay throughout the transition. But Janelle had another intention. She wanted to be physically on Coyote Pass to pressure actual building and development. So rather than purchasing a house, she invested all her money in land and a shiny new luxury fifth wheel and a truck to tow it. Not really the thrifty choice. If being frugal was the goal, she could have purchased a used trailer and hired someone to move it, leaving her with far more than $100,000. Instead, she spent money on a configuration that instantly lost value. At the same time, Christine's home sold for more than $700,000. That's a huge financial disparity. But the kicker is, the camper that Janelle bought wasn't just some bare-bones trailer. This was the best. Several bathrooms, a full kitchen, private sleeping areas, even space for dogs. Built with freedom and mobility in mind, it was meant to live near the land she envisioned developing. Nevertheless, this family's economic choices never really add up. They never really maximized the value of their Vegas homes or utilized equity to retire Coyote Pass. Balloon payments on their current mortgages were pending, probably necessitating their relocation. And instead of reinforcing their footing, they continued to make more irrational, unhinged decisions. The balloon payment for Coyote Pass was due in March of 2023. If unpaid, the property would revert to the previous owner and all that investment. Poof! Janelle encouraged Cody to move forward, but he was poised to throw in the towel. Development cannot occur until the land is paid in full or until Cody redraws the lines, a process made even more difficult by issues with ownership and mismanagement. While Cody and Robin purchased a new, pricey house in the meantime. That sums up their so-called commitment to Coyote Pass. Spoiler, there wasn't much. And the truck that towed the camper, that was Cody's deceased brother's truck. Cody bought it, not Janelle, even though the story is being pushed. So even that investment wasn't hers altogether. So let's get things straight. The idea that Janelle purchased the camper for convenience just isn't true. Ultimately, she abandoned Coyote Pass itself, first relocating to an apartment and eventually living with Garrison. The camper, it sits in storage today. The strategy of imposing change through occupying the land clearly failed. They had options. They could have sold the Vegas homes, rented short-term, and used the funds to pay off the land. But instead, they made one poor financial choice after another, and now they're stuck. Looking back, the camper purchase feels more like a warning shot, build now or I'm out. And from the way things played out, maybe Janelle always intended to leave if things didn't change, tired of staged picture-perfect families on reality TV. Let's dive into the real dysfunction behind Robin and Cody's take on polygamy. Robin's worst fear is not Cody leaving with some younger, hotter new bride. No, her true nightmare is being the sole wife remaining. Consider it. If Mary and Janelle leave, Robin's perfect life is a normal marriage, and the entire brunt of Cody's rage comes with that. No more co-targets, no more distractions, just her, soaking up the tempest. Because let's face it, the way Cody talks to the other wives is already appalling. Without them present, Robin is the sole full-time emotional punching bag. But this chaos, it's the life she helped create. She held to the fantasy of a harmonious, polygamous household, but that fantasy is in the past. Cody's disintegration, spiraling further into control problems and minor fixations, redrawing property lines, fretting over logs to peel. And now Robin is stuck in the mayhem she once promoted. Here's the catch though, Robin has a very good idea how to keep Cody in tow. She's been sole wife previously, twice. She's not that intimidated by his wrath, at least not in public. It's the loss of comfort that frightens her, the loss of economic support from the other wives, the loss of a nanny she will not be able to pay for herself. And Cody, he stated as much. Cody could do just fine with just Robin. He's done with polygamy. So is Robin still faking wanting that large, plural family life merely to maintain appearances? Or is she afraid, once everyone is gone, she and Cody won't have anything in common anymore? Because let's be real, their bond has always been about griping about the others. That's their glue. For now, it appears like a monogamous marriage, and perhaps that's what they both always desired. But Cody's anger hasn't subsided, it's intensified over time. And if there's no other target left to vent it on, Robin's the only one remaining in the firing line. And then there is the money. Christine gone and Janelle backpedaling leaves the show up in the air. No show equals no check. And as for that nanny, she does not come cheap. Robin's life of luxury is based on keeping the TLC gravy train running. So that sobbing speech about needing a big, loving, polygamous family, let's not pretend, call it what it is, damage control. She's worked overtime to make herself and her children Cody's #1 priority, while doing the absolute minimum to keep the family intact. Since Vegas, it's been crystal clear she doesn't want to share Cody, only the perks of the lifestyle. Others claim Robin's the real mastermind. Perhaps not a skilled actress, but most certainly a veteran manipulator. She's never worked a day in her life, has a nanny to not be a full-time parent, and continues to play victim like she's up for an award. And the crazy thing, it pays off. She gains sympathy while quietly cementing her status. Meanwhile, Cody's over daydreaming about new wives, still seeking approval. Who knows? Perhaps a flirtatious someone will appear at one of his gun show booths, eager to come along to the circus. Wouldn't that be something? Reality TV gold for sure. But here's the bottom line. Robin's not so much afraid of being alone. She's afraid of losing control, losing money, and losing the status of favourite. If the other wives leave, she's left with reality, and that means actual responsibilities. Heaven forbid she ever has to work. So yes, karma's on its way, slowly but surely. But let's make no mistake, Robin's still playing the long game, manipulating just enough, griping just enough, keeping everybody miserable enough to stay around. And we get front row seats to the slow-motion train wreck. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me next time for more deep dives. Take care and much love to all. Thanks for watching.